Good Monday evening and welcome to another episode of chataboutit.com's show of the political chick. You are tuning in, yes, to chataboutit.com. Thanks for joining us this evening, and I hope you will be here to join the conversation as well. If you ever want to give us a call, the number to reach out to us is 877-CHAT-212. Again, 877-CHAT-212. Well, tonight we have a very exciting program. We have the author with us in studio here. His name is Bill Press. He's the author of Toxic Talk. Yes, and yes, you might have guessed what that might be about. It is all those talk show hosts out there who are, well, making a little noise and rumbling and sometimes spreading a little bit of hatred, or at least according to Bill Press says so. And also, he's got a little bit of criticism of the Rush Limbaughs of the world out there, Sean Hannity, and he's going to tell us why, and a little bit of research, too, that he's done on them. Also, Rush is garnering about 20 million listeners. So is it just that the sizzle is garnering the audience? And is that right? Is it not? Do we need more equal programming, or is it just all about who can get the ratings? After all, as far as we know, we're still in a capitalistic society. Next up, Fred Sheehan is going to give us a shout. He is going to be returning to talk about bubbles. He's a bubble expert, not the kind you two know, more like the bubbles of the economy. And yes, he's going to be discussing Europe, as well as a few excerpts of Panderer to Power, the book he wrote. He has been here on The Political Chick before, and he's going to be talking to us not just about so much the effects of Greece, but now, has Greece actually created a new bubble in our markets? And is that what we just saw pop last week? And if so, how much more do we have to go? And lastly, we're going to turn the tables towards a global crisis that's going on. Mark Hopkins, the director of Living in Emergency, which opens up June 4th. It's a film. It's a documentary. He's going to talk to us all about his mission, which was to film this documentary about Doctors Without Borders. And it's going to be all of their stories, their harrowing experiences, as well as their thrills and triumphs while they are around the globe and working for free, by the way. So at any time, if you want to give us a call, join the conversation. It's 877-CHAT-212. Again, 877-CHAT-212. If you want to follow us on Twitter, it's PoliticalChick1. Give us a shout there as well. But I'm going to turn my head around here and welcome.
You've got it covered on every angle, every platform possible. I like that.
Coming from you, Mr. Press, thank you very much.
Hi, Lisa. And it's Bill, please.
All right. Well, we are talking to Bill Press. He is a veteran in the radio industry, and that's what his book is all about. Yes, he's got 20-plus years of experience. And Toxic Talk, tell me what inspired you to write this. Did you just get so mad listening to so many conservatives on the air that you just said enough already? Or I feel like...
That's kind of it. Yeah, maybe.
I feel like, too, that there's this little undertone of the fairness doctrine. Would you like to see that come back? I kind of have more of a free press and freedom of speech and freedom of capitalism and commerce type of person. So I'm not really into the fairness doctrine. But if you have a good legitimate argument for it, too, bring it out.
All right. I'm a free market guy, too. And let's get into the fairness doctrine just in a little bit, right?
Okay.
But back to your first question. Look, you're right. I've done talk radio, it seems, all my life, right? Certainly, I've done political debate all my life. I started in high school. I taught high school. I coached a debate team. I debated in college. I got a job on television. I've been debating the issues on television and on radio all my life. And I left California, came to Washington, D.C. 14 years ago to be co-host of Crossfire on CNN. Tucker Carlson and I did the Spin Room. I moved over to MSNBC. I did Buchanan and Press with Pat Buchanan. So that's my life, is debate, still today, debating the issues. And I love talk radio. I think it's such an important medium. It's a really, by the way, on all platforms. And, we podcast and simulcast and all that, too. And I tweet from the White House. I mean, you've got to do that today. And I'm on Facebook and all the rest. But so when I say talk radio, I mean in all its dimensions. I love it. I think it's such an essential part of our democracy. More people participate through one of those mediums in talk radio, one of its many forms, than read the newspapers, then watch cable television, then go to any of the blogs. It's huge. And I've been dismayed to see good, healthy, stimulating, hard-hitting, passionate political debate, which I thrive on, descend into pure name-calling, which that's why I called it toxic talk. And I think we hear too much of that today. To me, you can't get very far in a conversation when you start out calling somebody a racist, or you start out calling somebody a communist, or you start out just by saying, you're un-American. If you don't agree with me, you got to be un-American. I mean, it's ridiculous. So I believe in passionate debate. but I sort of like an air of civility about it. Not to be, weak-kneed. I'm saying be strong, but the name-calling, the kind of stuff, ugly, mean-spirited stuff, I think doesn't do anybody a service.
And you make a great point in the very beginning of the book. Why not just debate on facts? I don't see enough facts, and that goes for television, too. I feel like the shows, even on MSNBC and Fox and CNN in particular, I mean, lately, they've coined the term certainly not news as their nickname, and they used to be a go-to place for news, a solid news source.
When I was at CNN, that's what it was. I mean, that's the place where everybody turned to the news. And look at CNN now. It's in third
It's a
place.
disaster. It's in a distant third place. If you add up CNN and MSNBC's ratings, you still can't touch Fox's.
Absolutely, you're right. You're right. Back to the facts. I mean, the great Senator Daniel Moynihan from New York famously said once, "Everybody is entitled to his own opinion, but not to his own facts." And that's what we used to do in Crossfire. You would start with the facts, and then you would take it from there. And Bob Novak would go in one direction, I would go in the other. But at least you started from some base, which.
Absolutely. But, conservative talk radio, you mentioned this in your book, is now dominating the airwaves to the tune of 90%.
Yeah.
And I know you've asked this in your book, but why do you think it is? Because we have a very split nation right now. We've had 68 million people vote for Obama, 59 million people voted for McCain or in that vicinity. We're not a very polarized or a very one-sided nation, but you're right. We do have 90% conservative talk. Is it that they're just better talkers, or do you feel that it's just not a fair balance?
It's not because they're better talkers, but... there are a lot of reasons, I think. And you're right. There are 9 hours of conservative talk for every 1 hour of progressive talk. There are 2,000 news talk stations in the country today. I'll be generous, 55 of them are progressive stations. All the rest are conservative talk stations. So that just shows you the imbalance. I think it's for a couple of reasons. One is conservative talk's been around a lot longer. Rush Limbaugh started it back in 1988, and he was really he didn't start it, but he's a real first big one. So they've been at it longer. Two, conservatives recognized way back in the Nixon era that the media was so important. If they wanted to get their ideas, not just ideas out there, but ideas carried out into legislation,